I chose DU because DU has always been a great school that I've grown up nearby. When I started looking at different schools, I was really looking to emphasize communications from my previous career track so far. And there are not a lot of schools that offer something as holistically when looking at comms programs. Really, two programs stood out: Stanford's media program and DU's media program. DU was much more focused on the practitioner. I knew that I wanted to work with people, that I wanted to work in teams, and the DU program really emphasized that with the group projects that we did, with having so many opportunities to get involved with the Clarion or some of the film programs on campus. There were no shortage of activities that you could do to really round out and tailor how you wanted your trajectory here at DU to end and what skills you wanted to gain along the way. My name is Derek Dash, and I graduated from the Media, Film, and Journalism Studies program in 2022. I received my degree in Media and Public Communication with a certificate in Public Diplomacy from the department. Currently, I serve as the Senior Communications Advisor for the Governor's Office for the state of Colorado. The most valuable thing that I learned here at DU came from two classes. The first was Foundations of Strategic Communications. That class offered me the foundational skills that I needed to build the communications campaigns that I now work and manage every day. The second class was Strategic Messaging. And what Strategic Messaging taught me was that any campaign, any endeavor that you undertake, it doesn't even need to be communications related, but any project that you manage, you need to listen first and foremost. Do the research and study the topic before you go about making changes or plans. So after I graduated from DU, I worked as the Deputy Communications Advisor for Governor Jared Polis on his re-election campaign. That was a great experience because there are so many events and so many lines of communication on a political campaign that it gave me a wide exposure into a number of different issues. After working for the governor, I went to work for the Environmental Protection Agency for 2 years. While working for the Environmental Protection Agency, my job was to really create news around the president's agenda in the environmental space. After that, I went to work for the vice president. I worked for her for a few months and then on her campaign to be president as a senior advanced associate. And in that role, I worked in the communication space, but it was much more operations related. That is really where the certificate in public diplomacy I received came in, because that certificate is exactly what I was doing. I was being sent to foreign countries to help set up negotiations. And without that degree, I wouldn't have had the framework to know the history of some of these regions, to know what I needed to read and research before going there. And also, I think very importantly, just the cultural awareness that you need to have to step into another culture outside of the United States. The advice that I have for students pursuing a degree or that are considering pursuing a degree in communications is to come into the program knowing what you want to do. And some of that is sort of the 80-20 rule. Know 80% of what you want to do, but use your time here at DU to explore that other 20%.